Alright, so yesterday I released a video about my shred build and I got a lot of questions and I decided that's about time to answer those questions. One of the most common ones that I got is how do you keep up with your resource generation, or in other words, how you don't run out of spirit. Now this is the main reason why I said in the beginning that I wouldn't really recommend running shred early game, because you will run out of spirit. However, if you have the following build, which I already showcased yesterday, you will have two things. The first thing is you're going to have huge cooldown reduction. So in a way, you will be in Grizzly Rage in 95% of the cases. After Grizzly Rage expires, you should have 6 to 7 seconds out of it. You can achieve that by having a lot of cooldown reduction on your helmet, cooldown reduction on your amulet, and cooldown reduction on your offhand. Those are pretty important. If you have those, then your cooldown on the Grizzly Rage will be reduced to only 28.6 seconds, or you can do even better if you have max roll on these. Currently I have max roll on my helmet, I have max roll on my amulet. Unfortunately I don't have max roll on my offhand. I have 12.3, so I'm missing 2.3. And with those 2.3 probably I will get back to 28, get down. This is going to be the maximum. So 28 seconds cooldown reduction of your ultimate, you will have a reduction of the spirit cost by 72%. So currently, my shred costs me 38, which is absolutely brutal. However, the moment I shapeshift into a werewolf, I have it reduced to 11, and that's crazy. So this is the first thing that makes sure that you are okay with the spirit. You have your ultimate on almost all the time, and while your ultimate is on, the reduction, or the cost reduction of your skills is pretty huge. There's another thing though, which is very important to have, and it is in your Paragon board. As you can see here, I have it. It is right there. Lust for Carnage, critical strikes with werewolf skills restore to spirit. This partially answers another question: why do you require critical strike chance? If you don't have the Waxing Dubois, or whatever this name is, then your only way to have critical strikes is to boost your critical strike by virtue of having gear that has it. For instance, here I have critical strike chance, here I have critical strike chance. Actually, I don't have it here, I'm sorry, but I do have it here, and I have it here. So in a way, you have to boost your critical strike chance as high as possible, so that you can make sure that you're triggering this particular node of the Paragon tree. Once again, Lust for Carnage. This is your main way of getting spirit while you're fighting. So point number one, you should avoid fighting outside of your ultimate. Do it only when necessary. Point number two, having high critical strike chance. Make sure that you will be restoring spirit in the process while fighting, and you will never run out of spirit. There is another way to get extra spirit. It is right here. It is a rare node called Reclamation. It gives you 2 spirit on kill, and you can get another one here, and I believe another one here, so that's 4 spirit on kill. But as you can see, I just used the rare one because those two, I mean, I'm just okay with the current situation, especially if you have the Waxing Dubois, or whatever way this weapon is called. And this basically, I hope it answered the question, the first question: why and how do you keep up with your spirit generation? So this brings me to question number 2. The game, by the way, just crashed on me. But anyways, question number 2 was: why do you need a critical strike chance? For one thing, if you don't have this unique, definitely need to go up with your critical strike chance. You'll be doing more damage generally. You'll be generating more spirit. And even if you have this equipment, what happens if you fight a boss, or let's say, or a very strong elite, and there are no trash mobs around it? Basically, the stealth thing, you cannot use it. So you need to make sure that you have some critical strike chance so that you can hit harder. Of course, you'll say that a critical is basically guaranteed because of the lupine ferocity. That's right, but still, you want to strike more consistently, right? And on top of everything, if you don't have this particular axe, then you will have issues with the spirit generation in general if you don't crit often. Alright, so question number 3 was about the orange stones and why I'm using those. They give 10% damage reduction while control impaired, but since you're using your Grizzly Rage, you won't be getting stunned or frozen that often. This is quite the case. However, in 95% of the cases when I die, this thing happens if my ultimate is down. So what usually will happen is I'm going to get pinned frozen, stunned, and I'm going to die. So having 50% damage reduction helps me a lot. Now, the thing is, I know that this is situational, it doesn't work all the time. You can get damage while fortified 15% increase by using other stones, or you can get flat life, and those will work almost all the time. The life will work all the time, definitely. However, once again, 95% of the cases when I am to die, this thing happens once my ultimate is down. Speaking of that, let me quickly demonstrate how I won't run out of spirit with this particular build, which basically doesn't utilize any unique whatsoever as long as I'm fighting within my old Grizzly Rage. And while I'm doing that, I also want to talk about the other questions that you guys asked me. And one of the questions was that should you use basically Temerity, you know, the unique pants that give you barrier? And the answer is no. Temerity sucks. It's one of the worst uniques to use, and it will make you much less tankier. It is, as you can see, my spirit is more or less top, and my ultimate expires. The moment my ultimate expires, if I decide to fight now, my spirit will get. Look at this. It's definitely not that great, right? I'm losing spirit. Wow, if I'm fighting now, as you can see, I don't lose that much spirit. And of course, the most monsters are around you, the better, because you'll be critting more often. So if I'm to fight this group of monsters, right there, just kill them too fast. But the point is, the more monsters you're fighting, the better when it comes to preserving and generating spirit in the process. So, Temerity is pretty bad. And the last question you asked me when it comes to being tanky is, can you create a build that revolves around shred? So basically a shred build that is tanky enough to go and do dungeons, nightmare dungeons, and push. Now the thing is, even if you can do that, I wouldn't recommend, because it goes against the nature of the build, and the nature of the build is to be extremely fast and effective. You jump on a group of monsters, you kill, you jump on the other group of monsters, the next one. So this is what you're doing with this build. You don't push nightmare dungeons 50 levels above you when the enemies will literally one-shot you with a single projectile. You don't do that. You simply don't have to do that, because there are better builds to design for that. If you want to push, then do a tornado build, or even a bear build is going to be better. Just the problem is that shred jumps directly into the fight. Even if you're using pulverize build, there is this aspect that makes sure that it projects the whole thing away from you. So in a way, if the monsters are here and you are bear and you can use pulverize, you can go and use your pulverize from distance and still do massive damage. While in the shred case, you cannot do that. You have to jump the target. And imagine if the monsters hit for, I don't know, 50k damage. You jump and you die. So shred is super effective for clearing low tier nightmare dungeons and super ineffective for clearing high tier nightmare dungeons. So don't do that. It's simply not worth. And a couple of words about the other question that you guys asked me. I was showcasing mid-tier with level 100 character, mid-game build, that is correct. But the reason why I did that was because when I say mid-tier, I mean that I didn't have any uniques on my build. Currently, this is the build, the mid-tier, the mid-game build. And every mid-game player will be able to build this. Of course, they won't be that strong on the Paragon board, but you won't be doing tier 48 dungeons at the same time. You'll be doing tier, let's say, 20 dungeons, something like this. So the monsters you're fighting are going to be weaker, right? So definitely, this build will work mid-tier. It won't be that strong compared to if you're level 100, but still be working because your enemies won't be that strong in the same place. And you can still give it a try. And the last question, guys, that you asked me was about PvP. Is shred good for PvP? Now, the thing is, I tried it multiple times, but I didn't have any success. For one thing, this particular unique is not that great in PvP. In the general case, unless you have a lot of trash mobs around you, so you can keep killing them and resetting the stealth. But even if you do that, then the question arises, what happens when you fight somebody and you run out of spirit? Because this happens. You're fighting a single target, and you run out of spirit, and by that time, more or less the fight is over, because you are dying already. This thing happened when I was fighting a tornado druid. Literally no chance in hell, because in order to kill a tornado druid, you have to go exactly next to him. And if this thing happens, then you'll be in problem, because if you go next to the tornado druid, you won't be able to break through his fortify. You won't be able. That's my dog. I'm sorry about that. You won't be able to break through his healing, and sooner or later he's going to outlast you. You cannot really match a tornado druid with a shred one-on-one. What you need to do is to kite all the time, make sure he does a mistake or you gain some crazy crit on the lupine ferocity. Probably this is your only chance. I cannot think of anything else. Alright guys, so I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving me a like. This helps a lot. See you next time guys. Take care.
Perfect.